Flosstube! Welcome to this video. My name is Anna and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Friday, October 29th, and October has been a good month for stitching and socializing, and kind of sad that it's over. I kind of want October just to keep on going now that I'm in sort of a rhythm, and before I know it I have to get ready for November on Monday. So October's been great. We started early on in the month. We went on a trip with some friends. There were 8 of us all together. We rented a house out in western Colorado. We went hiking and mountain biking, and the terrain out there is so different from the foothills. It was really neat. So I'll try to insert just a few photos here in the beginning of sort of what that trip was like. And I got a chance to stitch that weekend when we were out there. And yeah, the rest of the month has been pretty quiet. I moved in some plants from the outside, tore out part of my vegetable garden. I've still got more stuff to put in the trash bin, but it's gonna be there for the next couple weeks at least. And I also rearranged this room. You probably noticed I don't have the cat tree behind me right now. We've been in this house for a little over a year, and some of my house plants are not getting enough light. They're starting to really stretch or reach for light, and this room has the best light in the entire house. It's upstairs, it's facing like slightly southwest, so it's a really good room for sunlight, but it's also a really small room, and I'm using it as my office. So trying to fit more plants in here without taking anything out of the room was kind of a puzzle, kind of a challenge for me. So I had to do some rearranging. The cat tree's over there now, and now this cactus came in from the guest room, and hopefully it will stop bending to try to get to the light. And then this painting is something I got from my grandma. She was clearing out stuff, and she had some paintings and other decor, and I remember this being in her house when I was a kid, and I really like it because it reminds me of Kansas. I know it's not as bright and happy as the flowers that I have that I've shown before on this channel that are hanging right there, but it does remind me of Kansas, and I like it. I like storms. I like to be reminded of home, I guess. So anyway, that's what my life has been like for the last few weeks. I did get some stitching in. So yeah, I'll show you the stitching, and I don't have any stash. I did go to some sales, but I only got a couple like Halloween themed decorations. Nothing cross stitchy. And so after I give you an update, I will also do a giveaway. So please stay tuned for that. All right, might as well just get into it. So in the month of October, I stitched on 4 projects. This is a bag that I take my travel stitching in when I travel, and I haven't unpacked it yet from that mountain biking trip. So in here, I have 2 projects. First, I'll show you the Prairie Year. I worked on one of the February months that I had, and I went ahead and ripped out what I had already done on it and changed some of the colors around, and I'm happy with those choices, and I'm gonna continue on with it. It's still not my favorite out of like all of the ones that I chose, but that might be because it's so repetitive. We'll see. But anyway, I don't think I have a before picture. If I do, I rip that out and then stitch this. So here is where it's at now. The things that I changed, I went with more of a sage green on this border, and then that same green was supposed to be inside the hearts, and instead I went with this, well, you can see the pattern so I can't hold it up, but like a sparkly, it's like a tan color with a gold sparkle in it. So it's not all sparkle, but yeah, I'm much happier with that. I changed some of the colors in this heart too, and so I'll just keep going around, and eventually I'll get all of these done and laced up and ready to display. So that's how far I got on that one. The other one that I worked on during that trip, I don't have the preview for here, so hopefully I can show you a picture or insert a picture, but it is the Halloween banner sampler from Just Cross Stitch magazine, and it was just on theme this month, so I decided to stitch it. And this is how far I got. So I think last time I had the top of the pumpkin outlined, and I was working on this part of the border in here. And so I feel like I've gotten a lot done. I filled in more of the pumpkin, which is really sort of mindless stitching now that the outlines are mostly there. It's an easy one to do while watching TV, but I still need a really good light because the fabric is so dark and kind of tightly woven, I guess. Yeah, so I worked all the way down. This is not quite the corner. I was tired of black, so I worked around the pumpkin instead of working down to the corner, but it's just a couple more rows before I reach that corner. And then I'll just continue working across the bottom. So there it is. I like it. I like that it's spooky, and I'm excited to, now that we're not moving anymore, I'm excited to acquire more like seasonal or holiday themed decorations. So part of that plan is to finish the cross stitch and get them framed. So I'm looking forward to having this on my wall, but I'm still enjoying stitching it as it's coming along. I guess I should mention that the only change I made on this one, I added legs to the spider, so it would have 8. I got some like acid green color for these eyes, and then all of the black is in a pearl cotton instead of 2 strands of DMC 310. It's still 310, but it's the pearl cotton kind, so it's a much thicker, the thread is much thicker, and so I'm just doing 1 strand full cross out of that thicker stuff. Oh. That is the main Halloween project I worked on. I still have a couple more days in October, but since I'm in Kansas, or I'll be in Kansas, I don't think I'm even gonna take cross stitch with me. Whenever I do, I never end up pulling it out because there's always other stuff to do with the kiddos, and there's just not a lot of time to sit and focus on that. Okay. Another one that I worked on was my full coverage. It's a Fright Night cropped version from Artisy, and these are the colors. It's mostly blues and browns, some purples, and then there's just like a few pops of these yellows and things in the pattern. So because there's not very many colors, it goes pretty quickly compared to my Heaven and Earth designs. So that's the preview for it. I've been working in diagonals across this house and into the front yard area. I didn't take it out of the thing. Wait a second to pull this off. Hopefully I am showing you what it looked like before. Alright. Oh, strings everywhere. So, that's how far I got. I got pretty far, I think. I was way up here when I picked this up again, and I worked through this diagonal, through this tree again, and then back into the front yard area, which is pretty plain, and then now we're getting into these fence posts, so it's getting more exciting already. This one, I had gotten pretty far and was tempted to put it away, but I really wanted to work right in here is an intersection of this center page, this page, and then this last bottom page. So I had to work across the 3 pages there. And I talked before about how I get kind of confused working across the page break. I know that can be difficult for a lot of people, working across that gap and knowing exactly where to go. And I dislike it. And so I try really hard to push myself to get it all done at once I get to it. And so that's what I did. I worked through there, and now I'm just on this bottom page. I just have, looks like not very many stitches left. Like there's 100 in each square, so it looks like 250 stitches down to this other corner. And then this is the bottom of the whole thing. So there it is. I'm very happy with this. I've been stitching, the method I've been using was meticulous diagonal stitches, where every single stitch I pick up the thread, do the stitch, and park the thread in the next place it's going to go, even if it's in the same row, unless it's right next to it, and then I'll do 2 in a row. But if it's any gap at all, then I'll park it later on. There's a lot of reasons to do that. There's a lot of tutorials out there. One reason that I like to do that is because when you fill up an area, it can be really difficult to bring the needle back up through all that dense stitching or push it down smoothly. And when you do it meticulously like that, every time you come up from a hole, it's empty because you're working this way. And so it makes the stitches lay smoother, I think, and it is not as hard on my thumb or my needle try to push through all that dense stitching, but it does take longer. And so what I did these last couple sections was I worked just in a square, where I would pick up a color, do the whole square, and then park it in the next square, but still in this diagonal pattern. I like doing that. It was definitely faster, but it is there are downsides too. It is a little frustrating when you're parking to work around the parked threads. And so doing that reminded me of why I do it one at a time, which is just pick up the top one and stitch and then just park it somewhere else. So anyway, just a little bit about how I approach this one and what I've been doing. I think I'm going to finish this new method I'm trying for the rest of this diagonal, but I definitely like the single stitch style. So I'm not saying I won't go back to that, just that's my take, that's what I've been working on. So there it is. This is another one that I think would look great in like a spooky frame up for just the Halloween season. So I'm going to keep this out. I'll definitely finish this diagonal, and I'll probably keep it out for another diagonal before I switch to my other project. We'll see. All right, and then the last project that I worked on is one I haven't worked on in a very long time. This is one that is really challenging. So far it's my most difficult project for a number of reasons. This is also an out of print chart, so I'm sorry you guys can't, if you can't find it, if you can't get it. It's one that I found, digging through somebody's craft stuff, so I'm happy to stitch it, but it's sad that you guys can't, if you can't find it. And it is the Wee Beasties Part 5. This is the Common Green Darner Dragonfly. So this front picture doesn't really do it justice, but neither does what I'm about to show you. And it's still in the hoop. I'm going to leave it in there because it's kind of hard to hold. I don't even know if I have a before picture for this because it's been so long. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so I need to clear space. This is just craziness happening right here with all these things. So you cannot see it, or maybe you can, but I worked a lot in the dragonfly's wing. You see all of this in the wing was not there before. I did some. And then I also worked more in the body of the dragonfly. And so what I was doing is I was doing a length of thread in here, and then I would choose a symbol and then work up. But these symbols, there are so many blends, there are so many symbols, there's so much Kreinik blending filament. It's I would pick out a new symbol and get the blended thread ready, and then that symbol would be there for maybe 5 stitches and a bunch of quarter stitches, and then that's it. So you need like a length of thread like this long to do that, and so that's part of why it's challenging and why the progress is so slow, is because it's just constant color changes for just like a tiny bit of color difference. But, you know, looking at how it's working with the back stitch down here, I think it's going to be beautiful. It's just really hard to count. For example, if I can show you, these are quarter stitches, and that's the whole leg for that section because it's like behind the wing. It's supposed to look like it's behind the wing, and then it comes back out. And so this section's done until the back stitching, but it looks like nothing right now. So yeah, it takes a lot of light and a lot of patience and concentration, and I got kind of a headache. I worked on this for, one day I worked on it for like an hour and a half, and I had kind of a headache afterwards, and I realized it's because I was just like so intensely focused on it. So I put it away for a little bit, but I pulled it back out again to work more on the wing, and like I said, I do really like it still. I'm trying to find, let's see if I can find the floss box for it. So these are the colors in it. They're beautiful. And then if I use like a blend, I drew the symbol and put it back on here thinking I'll use it again, but then looking at the chart, like it never shows up again. So we'll just leave these here for now. Most of the wing is made out of this Kreinik blending filament number 32. It's basically clear glitter, clear with glitter string. And I said before, using this on here, it's like stitching clear on white. It's subtle. I'm sure once I get all the back stitching in, it will look beautiful, but in the meantime, it's kind of a slog, and this is one of 4 wings. So, working on that. I will say though that some of there's another color in here, and it was tons of fun to work with, and it is blending filament Kreinik number 95, and it's this like unicorn rainbow thread, and it basically on this count of fabric changes color every stitch. Every full stitch is a new color, so it ended up being like a really fun scattering of rainbow colors. You can't So that's what's through here, this bottom part, is one strand of this with one strand of the clear. So still clear and still difficult to work with, but yeah, he's coming together. I had to tear out, I had counted wrong, so I had to tear out some stitches up at the top. So this is like, I don't know the parts of a dragonfly. This is like the neck area, and so there's still a head up here. But this is mostly the width of the whole body. So yeah, I'm glad I got this out again because it's been sitting dormant for a really long time, and it's because it's challenging to work on. But again, now that we're not moving or taking on any big projects, I'm thinking that I'll be able to work on this and some of my more difficult ones a bit more. So that is it. That is all that I stitched on. I'm shaking the table here. So let's do a giveaway. I decided that I'm going to give away this book, which we will see if lessons are going to be learned for shipping this book, but we're going to give it a try and see how it goes. This is Timeless Ornaments. It's a leisure arts book. This says book 10, Christmas Remembered. and it's got these sort of Christmas ornaments. And one set has this Nightmare Before Christmas. Got Halloween on the brain. Although, do you guys think that Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie, or is it both? Just a thought, a question. So there are ornaments in here from the Night Before Christmas poem, and they've got like a line from the poem and then like a little image next to it. So that's one set, but there's many other things in here. Like here's some Christmas flowers with beading in the middle of them. There's these little gnome guys with toadstools, Christmassy. And there's more stuff in here too, like some on perforated paper to make ornaments out of. There's a nice Santa, like an old school traditional Santa. There's angels, there's snowmen, there's like a little perforated or like a plastic canvas nativity scene with lots of beads. Those look fun, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna give this book away. I know it's not really Christmas season, but by the time I do the giveaway and get this in the mail, it'll probably be about that time. So if you'd like to be entered to win this book, please tell me in the comments what you do to celebrate Halloween or fall, or I suppose some people are in spring right now. So tell me what you're doing right now to celebrate the season, and if it's Halloween, then share about Halloween, and I will know that you want to be entered into the giveaway for this book. That's all I have for you. Like I said, I am getting ready to go out of town this weekend. I wasn't sure I'd be able to get this video in. I was actually thinking about leaving today and decided against it. So, leaving tomorrow. My plans for November, Stitch. I don't have to do as much outdoor stuff anymore to take care of the yard and garden, so I should have more time for indoor activities. And yeah, as far as stitching goes, I'll probably focus on seasonal things. I might keep out the dragonfly since I started that in November last year, I believe. 2 years ago. I can't remember when I started it, but I think I started it in November. So I'll work on that, and I'm also going to pull out my, I don't remember what it's called. I have a fall one. It's like a cornucopia thing. So I'll probably pull that out too. So that is all I have for you. Thank you for joining me, and happy stitching. Bye.